Andreas Athanasiou waived. Alec Martinez back. And your mailbag questions. All that coming up next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Monday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Tirabassi. Nate's here running the show. We've got a great Mailbag Monday show for you on deck. We're going to hear from Luke Richardson, who gives a little bit of an injury update and talks about the big story of the day. Andreas Athanasiou placed on waivers by the Blackhawks. Fellas, happy Monday. It's been a long time since we've seen each other.
Yeah.
About 14 hours.
So what do we make of this Athanasiou thing? How are we feeling? It's a guy who's not getting in a lineup anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of blocked by Joey Anderson. You're blocked by Ilya Mikheyev. There really hasn't been an opportunity. There's not really a spot for this guy on the team right now. So I think they're hoping he gets claimed. In an ideal world, he gets claimed and they can just go and wash their hands of it. But very unlikely that's going to happen.
That's probably also what Athanasiou is hoping happens too, because no offense to the Rockford Ice Hogs. They're a wonderful organization, and I think it would be a lot of fun to play on that team right now with all those young guys. But this is a guy that's been in the NHL for a long time now, about almost a decade in the NHL. So at this stage of the game, having to go down and play in the AHL, the reality is I think a lot of guys would hate for that to happen. So I think he's hoping that he gets claimed. I think his $4.25 million salary cap is going to hinder him from being picked up. So the plan from what Luke Richardson said is for him to report and play in Rockford should he make it through waivers by this time tomorrow. And he's going, if he does go to Rockford, he's going to go down and actually play, which is better than sitting in the press box and not being able to get into NHL game action. And his best route forward is to go in, play well, accept the role that they're giving you, and hope that by playing well, maybe some other team says, you know what, we're willing to take a flyer on Athanasiou if he gets called up and gets waived again, or we'll trade for him for a portion of salary retention for future considerations or whatever it ends up being. Like, his best bet to most likely get another shot in the NHL is it's not going to come in Chicago, because by the way that this roster has been playing, it's guys are starting to solidify their spots. Guys are starting to, really solidify the rotation, and Athanasiou just really doesn't fit where, the quote unquote like openings are for this lineup. He just doesn't fit there. He played at center and he was doing okay at center, but he's not like a full-time center. I don't think that's a spot for him. He's very fast, doesn't play a ton of defense, doesn't finish a lot of chances. Like, he's basically like another version of Ilya Mikheyev, and they have Ilya Mikheyev, and now he's getting scratched. So I don't think the way that his style plays fits with what they're doing. And it's clear, since he hasn't been able to get in the lineup, that the 12 or 13 other forwards on this team are more serviceable than what he's providing.
Yeah, this was a contract 2 years ago when it was signed. I didn't like it. I know he was coming off 20 goals, but somebody had to score those goals.
Yeah.
And he came off a real nice run with Reichel at the end of that season. Last year was lost to injury, and according to Luke, just never has not found his game since then. It's probably long overdue. But yeah, go down if he clears waivers, which he's likely going to. I don't see anybody jumping over themselves to pay $4.2 million for a guy that scored 2 goals in the NHL in the last calendar year.
Yeah. Don't forget those 7 assists though.
But maybe this gets his agent on the phone, see if he can facilitate a trade where, hey, we'll give you a 4th round pick if you retain half the salary type of thing.
Don't you think that would have happened already though?
You would think.
Like those calls are. I'm sure Kyle Davidson already made those calls. Like,
but as you
how
mentioned,
little can you give us?
As you mentioned earlier, though, Anthony Mantha done for the year on the Flames. I know that's not a plug and play. They 2 different styles of players, but they need a body. You can replace one former Detroit Red Wings prospect who always gets hurt with another former Detroit Red Wings prospect who always gets hurt. But I don't. Maybe it's something like that. But the reality is he's going to have to go down to Rockford, and that's not going to sit well with him. But it's better than not playing. And down there,
prove it, man.
Down there, you can play with Frank Nazar because Frank Nazar needs a guy that that can match his speed.
Yeah.
Nazar has been playing the last couple games with Brent Seney and Jerry Mayhew, which are good veteran guys to learn from, but those guys can't keep up with him.
No.
So you put Athanasiou out there. Athanasiou and Nazar in the AHL could do some serious damage, and then get your confidence back up, get your game going, and then when there's an injury, and there will be an injury, you can call him back up and say, all right, now's your chance.
Yeah. A couple people, Storytime Wonder says the Avs are playing with one line. A couple other people speculating where he could land. I don't think it's a matter of the player about him getting claimed. If he was making $1 million, I think he would get scooped up.
I think he'd be claimed immediately.
Yeah, but $4.25 million.
No.
There's not a lot of and isn't
the Avs can't afford
Nichushkin's coming back soon too.
Yeah.
The Avs can't afford the players they already have.
Yeah.
Right, and allegedly Landeskog is coming back this year. We've been hearing that for 2 years, but
first round of the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, maybe they're going to pull
no salary cap then.
It's not a matter of his attractiveness. Again, if he was $1 million player, I think a lot of teams would jump at the opportunity. 20 goal scorers don't grow on trees, but for $4.25 million, you got to find someone who does a little bit more than Athanasiou does, at least at this point. Now, if he goes to Rockford and lights it up, and the Hawks get a couple injuries, and he comes back and gets a chance, maybe he becomes a little more appealing on the trade market. And I think that could be what the Hawks are hoping for is, all right, let's get him back, get the timing back, get the speed back, get the confidence back. At some point, we're probably going to need him. And then at the deadline, eat half the salary, ship him off for a late-round pick, and just call it a day, and everybody's happy. That would sort of be the ideal would be him getting claimed. Yeah. The second idea would be the scenario I just presented. Again, it's nothing against the kid personally. It just you saw what they were doing when they signed him to the first contract. The second contract, meh.
As Jimmy points out, the team needed to reach the salary minimum, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you didn't need that second year. Like I was fine. I would have been okay bringing him back for 1 year because you need to hit the floor, all that stuff, sure. But that second year never made sense to me.
No, and it's funny too. I remember
scoring 20 goals because you're the only NHL level player on the team left after the trade deadline is not worth a 2-year, $8 million deal in my head.
I wouldn't think so either. And it was so funny after that first contract, we talked to him at the end of the year, and hey, what do you think in contract? He's like, I don't know, and I don't have any control on where I go. We're all kind of like, yes, you do.
Free agent means you're free to choose to go wherever you want.
So I don't know. Maybe he just felt like there weren't a lot of offers out there. So anyway, we could rehash that. There's no point.
We had a couple. Should we handle our diehard? We had a couple diehard questions about Athanasiou, and since it's a mailbag show, we might as well address those while we're talking about him right now.
Yeah, and on the other, by the way, on the other side of the break, Luke Richardson gave a little injury update and talked about Athanasiou. So we'll hear those 2 minutes or so when we come back from the break. So stick around, but we'll keep plowing to the mailbag. Windy City Hockey says, with Athanasiou likely headed to Rockford because of waivers, do you think he's likely played his last game in the NHL?
I doubt it.
I don't think so.
His speed will keep him in the league. As long as he could skate like he does, somebody's going to say, we need that.
This summer when he's a free agent, some team will say, here's $800,000. Come be our
Go
bottom
prove
6
yourself.
energy winger.
Yeah.
That's probably what he is at this point in his career now.
Probably.
Yep. And then B. Adams says, or B. Dams. Sorry. If Athanasiou clears waivers and is signed to Rockford, what happens to the $4.2 million cap hit?
I have that up here. I have that on. They will get a little bit of relief, but not a lot. Back in the day, you used to be able to bury a guy in the AHL and his whole cap hit went away. But the 2013 CBA said nope, no more, none of that. So this is from our pals at Puckpedia. Much smarter on this stuff than I will ever be. The amount of cap relief that a team gets from assigning a player to the AHL is the lesser of their cap hit and the NHL minimum salary plus $375, the buried threshold. So basically, it's the minimum salary plus the $375. So that equals $1.15 million. So they'll get that taking off his cap hit. So they will still have a cap hit of about $3.1 million when he's in the AHL. It doesn't just disappear.
Right.
Just a portion of it does. Back in 2012, you could have just made it all disappear, but it doesn't work that way. And the Blackhawks were guilty of doing that. Well, not guilty, but they took advantage of that loophole.
It's not cheating if it's legal.
Yeah, right.
Ask the Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you get a little bit of relief, but it's not necessarily like the Blackhawks are clamoring for that cap space to really do something big or anything like that. It's just they're just going to get it.
Yeah, this is more of a roster spot personnel sort of a thing, and just if they feel like they're going to get anything out of him, he has to play. And it's similar to why they sent Isaac Phillips down too, because with Martinez looking like he's coming back, he's practicing Wednesday, going on the trip. Phillips is not going to play, so put him in Rockford and let him go. We'll hear from Luke on him in a little bit here too.
Yeah, makes sense. Phillips is a guy that's your 7th defenseman, and he'll get into the rotation here and there. He played fine in the times that he played in place of TJ Brody, but I think at this stage of the game, like he's a young guy, but I think he's kind of is what he is at this point. I don't know if there's much more growth that can come from him, but I mean, for a guy that was a 5th round pick, jumped into professional hockey earlier than he normally would have because of how the OHL and AHL, changed up rules during COVID and everything. He got to play with Rockford ahead of schedule. So, he's developed into a guy who goes from 5th round pick to playing in NHL games. Like, not a lot of 5th round picks even see the NHL, let alone have success in the AHL. So, Phillips he's a great kid. He's a solid 7th defenseman in the NHL. It's a hard life. Ben Pope pointed it out today about the schedule that a guy who's in that position has going back and forth between the NHL and AHL. So I would point you to read that and get an idea of what Phillips goes through. But I mean, I think he's a guy that kind of accepts that role. And like we said with Athanasiou, injuries are likely to happen. Alec Martinez may not be back for the entirety of the rest of the season.
I would doubt that.
Like he could get hurt.
Connor Murphy
could get hurt. TJ Brody could get hurt. Like any of these guys, are an awkward hit away from having time off. So have Isaac Phillips continue to be ready to come back up and be ready to play.
It's not necessarily a position that young players want to be in, but it's a valuable guy to have in your organization where you have a reliable guy in those cases.
You're not just grabbing somebody that's just like, oof.
Yeah,
hope we don't have to play him.
It's not Jacob Megna off the scrap heap last year. It's a guy you could trust in those situations. And then when he's not needed here, he plays a very big role with the Ice Hogs and helps with the development down there. So, you know what? I think he is what he is at this point. I don't think he's been stunted in any way. I think he's reached his full potential, and this is what he is, whether it's here for the Hawks or elsewhere after this season. But he's still, playing in the NHL when they need him, and that's not the worst thing in the world.
We got to hit the break zone here. When we come back, your super chats, you're going to hear from Luke Richardson on the injuries and the decision to waive Athanasiou, and the rest of your mailbag questions coming up next on CHGO Blackhawks.
Hey, and if you are a betting person and you want to wager if Andreas Athanasiou ever plays in the NHL again, well, I don't think that's actually an option at the Circa Sports book, but it might be, but it's worth checking it out. Whether you want to bet hockey or football or basketball, Circa Sports Illinois is where you want to get it done. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circasports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And with all the money you win with Circa Sports, go buy some doobies at Sunnyside, your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. I placed my order online today. I'm going to go pick it up tomorrow. Can't wait. I am low. I was not able to sleep last night because I am out of my good news counting sheep gummies. Not good. That's all right. Sunnyside's got my back. Whether you're a pro or a veteran, the people at Sunnyside are going to help you find exactly what you need to get you started or to continue your cannabis journey. I already mentioned my favorite brand, Good News. They're great, and they've got their brand new limited time Island Vibes vapes, also available in 510 carts and live resin gummies. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders.
Question.
Yes?
For the expert on the panel here. Do you think more doobies before sports betting is not a bad thing either? Maybe get that inner zen before you start betting your money?
I don't know if you want to be in any sort of altered state when placing a wager.
Maybe I should be, because in a non-altered state, my record's not very good.
Pull a Costanza and just do the opposite of whatever comes to you.
The opposite of your natural instincts.
That's why I'm not a good bettor. I bet with my heart too often, and it doesn't work very well.
Usually doesn't work that well. Yeah. All right,
let's get some. We got any super chats here, Nate? I know we have at least one. From Corey says,
good way to jump the line on a mailbag.
There you go, Corey. Vlasic, Kaiser, Korchinski, Levshinov. How we feeling about the D-core of the future right now?
Sucks. All these guys are bums. They're terrible. Trade them all, especially that Kaiser.
Yeah.
We are advocates for trading Wyatt Kaiser.
That's our thing. That group, Vlasic and Kaiser, those guys have been really good this year. I don't see them as like they're pretty much getting off the table of like prospects. Like I think these guys are, especially Vlasic, he's established NHL guy. I think Kaiser is also pretty much established himself as an NHL guy. Korchinski and Levshinov, there's growing pains, and I think that's what you expect when you have. I mean, we went through it last year with Kevin Korchinski as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old in the NHL, growing pains. Same thing with Levshinov this year, 18, 19-year-old guy, growing pains. It's happening in Rockford, which is a good spot for them to have those learning experiences, because you're not getting threatened with the, like, okay, you make a mistake, we're sitting you for half a period, or you're getting scratched the next game because you're making mistakes at the highest professional level. You're making mistakes in a development league. Like, that's kind of the best place to be doing it, to try and learn those lessons and be able to say, okay, made a mistake on your last shift. Like let's learn from it, get right out there for your next shift and do better next time. And I think it's a good spot for them to be in. I think there's still a lot of things to be excited for with both those guys. Same goes with Ethan Del Mastro playing down there too. It's good. They're in a good spot. I have more faith in the defensive core in the prospect group than I do any other position right now.
And I think let's keep in mind too, with Levshinov especially, like, that was a guy who was so far and ahead better than everyone at Michigan State that he was basically told, just go do what you want. Just go out on the ice and create and pinch and take all the risks you want.
Yeah.
Didn't play a lot in a huge structure.
Like,
and now he's having to really do that for the first time.
If he went back for this year, he'd probably be like tearing up the league, and it
to what end?
Yeah, right. It could be like a smoke and mirrors thing. It was like, yeah, he'd be doing really great in college, but he'd be above where he should be. So I think being in Rockford and having him challenge to that next level rather than just, it's the same thing with Korchinski. Like if he, like last year, had he stayed in the WHL with Seattle, he would have killed it down there.
120 points.
But he wouldn't have learned. He would have learned nothing. Right. He wouldn't have faced challenges. So it's better for them to face challenges now, so that they can continue that development path rather than getting complacent and getting maybe stuck in some habits that work in college or junior that don't translate to the pro game.
Yeah, I wrote about Levshunov in the Pigs and Puck weekly Die Hard column.
Pigs in a Blanket.
And there was the one Levshunov play that got a lot of attention over the weekend. Wasn't a great play. Went out of his way to avoid a hit, and then seconds later Iowa scored the eventual game-winning goal, and of course that led to a lot of declarations,
of course,
a lot of negative and flat out stupid comments. You have to remember with Levshunov, he is a barely 19-year-old kid playing at a level where for the first time in a long time, he's not the best player on the ice. Every time he steps on the ice, he's playing against grown-ass men for the first time in his career. He's coming off a rather significant injury. So that's why he's in Rockford. So he can make those mistakes, and it doesn't, it's not at the highest level. It's not at the NHL level where it's a results-based business and what have you done for me lately? It's not going to cost him any playing time. It's not going to cost him his role on the team. They did split up Levshunov. Korchinski was a pairing the previous weekend. They split those guys up. Levshunov was with Del Mastro, and Korchinski was with Crevier. It's a good move there to get those guys with more responsible players. Levshunov has shown some what you would expect at a player that, like, if you expected him to just step onto the AHL ice and dominate and be a perfect defenseman, you've been using advantage of the Sunnyside discount we've been offering you every week, because it's just not going to happen. That's not how these things work. The thing is, he has shown all those things that why the Hawks drafted him where they've drafted him. He's shown speed. He's shown his skating. He's shown the vision. He's got a goal and 2 assists. He's shown some physicality. Yes, that play that everybody's pointing on, that everybody was looking at, was not him, but he has finished checks. He has initiated contact. So look at the big picture. He's 9 games into his professional career. If you expected him to be perfect and make no mistakes and not have any turnovers and have 13 points at this point, you're not living. You're not living in the real world.
It's just not how it works. It's just not how.
So progression. You want to see him get better from week to week, and he's got 3 games this week to get better.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens.
I mean, just
mistakes are going to happen. It's when the same mistakes happen again and again and again.
Sure.
That's when the red flags need to come out. And if this sorry,
no, you're good.
And if this Rockford coaching staff hasn't proved to you by now that they know how to develop defensemen, I don't know what to tell you.
They've done a pretty good job.
Yes.
And just, you look at the Buffalo Sabres with Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power, both of which were like, no doubt, number 1 overall, generational defensemen, and they've taken some time to develop too. Like, defensemen take longer, and I saw some people talking about Drew Comezzo and how he hasn't looked great. Corey Crawford played 4 full seasons in the American Hockey League before he became a full-time NHL goalie.
Yeah.
Goalies take longer than defensemen sometimes. So I think as we're looking at this development thing, I know people are impatient, and I understand that. You've got 2 years left of Mrazek. Well, this year next of Mrazek, this year next of Brossoit, and then you figure out what you want to do from there. Is Comezzo ready or not? Mm-hmm. If he's not, you find another goalie.
You also have to remember, Comezzo missed an entire week of game action and practicing, being along for the ride when Arvid Soderblom is hurt
was
sick. So, and he started off slow last season. October and November was not great for Comesso last season, and then got it going. Sometimes you just got to get, as a goalie, you got to get in the groove. He got both games this weekend. They didn't do the every other. So until Arvid Soderblom goes down, he's going to get, I bet you he starts all 3 games this week. They play Wednesday, they play Friday, they play Sunday. I bet you he starts all 3 of those games.
Yeah. All right, we're going to skip Luke because we've already talked about, we've been going very long on some of these questions. Basically, he said Martinez is taking the trip, and he'll probably play. Brossoit is back on the ice, but no timeline yet because he's a goalie, and they waived Athanasiou so he can get some playing time in Rockford and hope he gets claimed.
Okay.
Did I summarize that well?
Yeah. That sounds good.
We could have saved a half hour of the show.
I think so.
That should have been the cold open. We could have jumped right into the mailbag.
All right, let's get. Do you want to get one more mailbag question in before the break zone? Okay.
Never mind.
This from Charlie the Bacon Guy. He says, "What? Are you saying something?"
No.
I keep hearing your voice over there. He says, "Who is going to be the Blackhawks player to join the CHGO team this season?" Well,
right on cue, our guy, Charlie the Bacon Guy.
Yes. A week minus 30 minutes from now, we will have Alex Vlasic sitting in one of these here chairs. Hopefully it's not the broken one. So Monday at 2:30,
He's taking one of our spots.
Alex Vlasic will be here, and we'll grill him.
If your passcode doesn't work on Monday, sorry.
Son of a gun. All right.
So there you go. Alex Vlasic will be part of the show Monday, and who knows what the future will bring beyond.
We will
that.
have on-air negotiations with him.
Yes,
for what he wants to do.
Yes, that'll be
the rest of the year.
We're looking forward to it.
It'll be exciting to have him in here. He's been a focal point of this team for 2 seasons now, and he's part of the future. And it'll be good to talk to him. It's going to be a lot different talking with him, being in his early 20s, new to the NHL, than it was talking with Nick Foligno last year, who's more in our age demographic and played many thousands of games in the NHL. So it'll be fun.
You had a point you were trying to make before I rudely interrupted you.
Oh, I was just going to say with taking a look at young defensemen, like if you look at some of the guys picked in the last few drafts in the top 10 of picks, there's really only one that has had immediate success once turning pro, and it was Luke Hughes.
Yeah.
But he played extra time in college and then went into a pretty good situation with the New Jersey Devils, and he's excelled, which is great. But if you look at guys like Simon Edvinsson, he's taken time after being drafted, playing in the AHL, now getting up to the NHL. David Urasek has been up and down AHL, NHL with Columbus. Simone Nemec also up and down AHL, NHL. Like those guys were high draft picks, similar in skill sets to Levshinov, and took some time.
Yeah.
So continue to be patient with these guys. It's rare for most defensemen to jump straight from their junior careers to NHL careers and have immediate success.
Yeah, so Luke Hughes, 2022-23, came in at 19, played 2 games. Last year, at the age of 20, 82 games, 47 points. This year, he's played 9 games, has 1 assist. So, it's just not, and that's a guy who everybody knows. Luke Hughes is going to be a star in this league.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of when and a matter of how big of a star, but he will be a star in this league. And in his second full season, he's off to a rough start. He's struggling.
And that's why the Hawks have also set this up to where these guys come in waves. Yeah. It's not your 3 best prospects are all here the same year, and then, oh, my God, they all suck, and this is bad. You're going to have waves. Every year there's going to be 1 or 2 young players that come up and hopefully contribute. And then 3-4 years down the road, it's all set, and it's all ready to go.
All right, we have to hit the break zone. We have not done an appeal for likes or subscriptions yet, so please smash that like button for us right now. Take 5 seconds. It doesn't even take that long. It's like 1 second.
You have to like
hover over that thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Do it right now, please. And subscribe since you're hovering right there. Just go over to the right a little bit and hit that subscribe button. And if you're catching up on the podcast, thank you. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, all that great stuff. We'll be back with the rest of the mailbag questions coming up next on CHGO Blackhawks. But with Wishfest in the rearview mirror,
officially,
it is now time to just go back to choosing chill. Keep giving to great charities like WishFest and others.
Yeah. It's almost the season of giving.
It is. It's always a season of giving here. And if you want to just kick back, relax, kick those feet up after a long day at work, there is no better accessory to choosing chill than a Coors Light. You know, when those mountains turn blue, it is mountain cold refreshment. And when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. We got to get our fridge restocked here. We are criminally low on mountain cold refreshment.
We got a lot of beans, though.
Jim,
We do have a lot of beans. We have a lot of little packets of barbecue sauce.
if you leave the beans in there long enough, it'll eventually ferment into
It'll
some
turn
sort
into
of
Coors Light.
in some sort of beverage you can
I
chill
don't think
to.
that's how it works, but
boy.
we'll see what happens. Make the most out of the times that you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Well, hey, if fermented bean juice is not your beverage of choice, you might be making a good decision. And other good decisions are made by businesses when they choose ComEd, because ComEd can help them save money by becoming more energy efficient. Did you guys know that?
Greg, you got
Greg?
this?
Did you know that?
I did know that, but for devil's advocate, I will say no. I forgot about that.
Well, yeah, of course. ComEd's energy efficiency program can help find up to 35% in energy savings.
Holy moly, that's a lot of savings. What does a business, or how can a business do things to get all those savings?
All businesses have to do is sign up for a free facility assessment at comed.com/biz.
Please enlighten me on why more businesses aren't doing something that so freaking easy.
If I had the answers, I wouldn't be sitting here. Maybe they forgot the website.
You mean comed.com/biz, B-I-Z? Comed.com/biz, B-I-Z? Comed.com.
Yeah, I think that should do it. I think
biz.
the people should remember comed.com/biz. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy usage and rate, and the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law, which is a good thing.
And /biz.
/biz.
There you go. All right, back to the sack.
/biz.
It's my favorite AC/DC album.
That's really good. It is the least innuendoed song they have.
Easy for you to say.
Yes. All right.
Yes. Hall
that's
of Fame,
happening today, too.
inductions official tonight.
Florida Tim, all respect for Chris Chelios, local Chicago guy. Hall of Fame on his jersey retirement. Why isn't Doug Wilson ever mentioned for jersey retirement? Also a Hall of Famer and highest production Blackhawks defenseman.
It's always a puzzler.
I agree that number is definitely in consideration, but much like Steve Larmer, I think just played in the wrong era where there wasn't the attention to the team that there was, say, when Chelios played and when Roenick played, and didn't have the booming personality of a Chris Chelios. I love Doug Wilson. He's one of my favorite Blackhawks of all time.
Great hair.
I mean, as someone who also has great hair, I can appreciate him as well. But I know we've had this discussion a lot. Like, at some point, you just can't retire all the numbers. So
Ring of Honor.
Hopefully, with this Centennial season coming up very soon, they do something like that, a Blackhawks Hall of Fame or a Ring of Honor, something along those lines, and then you can honor those players that, probably deserve to be a number retired, but there's only so many to go around, and you don't want to be the Canadians where everybody's wearing 50s and 60s. That's kind of lame.
If you could retire, you get to retire one of three. Wilson, Larmer, or Roenick. Who is it?
Roenick.
Larmer.
I think Roenick
I
meant
asked
more to the
questions, so I don't get to
organization than
answer.
Larmer.
You think so?
Roenick is more of an organizational icon than Larmer is.
Yeah, sure. But to me, Larmer was more important to those Blackhawk teams. And like he played here longer, never missed a game.
Yeah.
Had that, and Jeremy Roenick will probably tell you, like, Steve Larmer had a huge influence on his game.
All these things are
he,
correct.
he did tell us.
Yes.
Yeah. He told Tab
everything you're
specifically.
saying is correct. I don't disagree with any of it. I just think if you were to pull aside 100 Hawks fans, Mario's age or younger, and give me the icons of the generation before yours, they're all going to say Roenick, and very few of them will say Larmer.
Yeah, no. So All right.
I think they'd say
Disagree.
Belfour before they said Larmer.
Maybe, yeah.
I still think Larmer deserves it more. But
more, I think he deserves it. I don't know if it's more than Roenick.
I don't know. I'll agree to disagree. If had Roenick played like another 3-4 years here, I just think so much of his career happened after the Blackhawks.
Yeah, but the best was here. And I also think it's not really. He wanted $4 million. Like,
Wow, yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
That's Andreas Athanasiou money.
Exactly.
In 1996.
I know, but like him leaving was not his fault. It's not like he demanded a trade. It was like, what? Come on, like how many times can I let you insult me before I just say enough is enough and I want to go?
Yeah.
You know, like I it's hard for me to hold that against Roenick because he wanted to be here. And that was not just lip service. Like he was like, come on, like just respect me a little bit and I'll stay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just this wrestling match with Bill Wirtz.
Well, I mean, you go back to when the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup in 2010. You saw him on the broadcast after that game is getting emotional and choked up because the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup. And he was just like, I didn't get to do that. Not only not in his career, but it meant something for him for it to be the Blackhawks. And he's come back a number of times and been, recognized by the organization. And, just this weekend, TSN did a cool little feature on him. We put it up on our Twitter page about him being inducted to the Hall of Fame and getting that call and everything. And there's a small segment of that. I think it's like a 15-minute video about why he didn't play his entire career as a Blackhawk. And he just says, like, I wanted to play my entire career as a Blackhawk, but, Bill Wirtz at the time wasn't budging on the money that he wanted to give me. And so he had to leave. So, yeah, I mean, it's something that, it's one of those what ifs, if Chelios and Roenick and Belfour all would have been career Blackhawks or, majority of their career in Chicago, like what could have been different for the rest of the 90s Hawks and into the 2000s, and what that gap of time wouldn't have been lost on a generation of fans. Like, it's one of those big what ifs. Yeah.
And even when they were here, the refusal by Bill Wirtz to do anything to help those guys get over the hump was maddening. Like, it was just, there's like Brett Hull wanted to be here. Like, there were so many good, at the time, great players that would have come to Chicago, but it was like, nah, it's too much money with no cap. I'm telling you, like, this summer we should get like a Rosner or a Steve Rosenblum or somebody who covered the Hawks during the Bill, like, just to remind younger fans of how, like, Doug Buffon used to say that he throws nickels around like they're sewer covers. Like, that was true. I think, was it Jack O'Callahan who signed? They gave him they gave him a Hawks jacket to wear at the press conference, and it was over like, we need the coat back. It's like just stuff like that. It's crazy. It's crazy how cheap it was.
Tom Reed,
the rashy one,
who was in town last night, is the Wild's radio color man. He started his career with the Blackhawks, and back then he had told his original contract is up on the wall in his bar right across the street from where the Wild play. But back in that era, if you broke a stick, you had to pay for it, and if you were late for stuff, you had like. So Tom Reed once told me that by the end of the season, he actually paid the Blackhawks like $56 to play for them because like all that stuff like that. It's not like today where you could break 7 or 8 sticks in one game and nothing. If you broke a stick, you owed the team like $60.
You're not Duncan Keith with a warehouse full of one-time use
closet
sticks.
in the United Center.
What's Billy Ray, the old Hawks coach, used to buy his players new skates every Christmas. That was his gift to the team. It was like, and I know it's a different era. Like,
yeah, right.
But still.
My dad used to take my sister and I to the original Gunzo's in Forest Park in September, like the weekend before training camp would start, because we know we would run into Troy Murray or Bob Murray or Bill Murray, all the Murrays, like all those
Bill Murray,
because they were there buying their own equipment for the rest of the season. So you would just be like, "Oh, let's go to Gunzo's and pretend we're looking for stuff," and then you'd get 9 Blackhawk autographs on your way out.
Was Bob Murray buying folding chairs to throw at people? Stocking up
he
for
was
the
buying
season?
stuff to help his face turn red, if you know what I mean.
They sell that at Gunzo's? Wow.
I'm sure they know a guy.
That's Instacart. CoorsLight.com/ CHGO Hockey. All right, Rooney is next with a question. With another West Coast trip to look forward to, do you think the Hawks will move to the Eastern Conference in the next 5 years? Is it something ownership wants/talks about?
I mean, it depends on expansion. If they keep,
God, I would love that.
If they keep adding teams to the West, I think you could get the Blackhawks back in the Eastern Conference.
Nashville would probably go first because they're
Screw those
further
guys.
east than Chicago.
Yeah, but no, Nashville's a West. Nashville as a city feels like a Western Conference city, right?
The old West Cowboys,
Because they kind of
Because they got country.
they're
and
like
Western.
yeah, they're like yeah, definitely.
Bob's Western world is right there.
Being in Nashville felt like you were in the South and the West. Yeah, I think if you add a team in Houston, Kansas City's been thrown out there. Like if you keep putting teams in the West, Chicago can move east. I think that's the way you get there.
I mean, if you look at the map, Nashville is slightly east of Chicago. However,
Geography.
they're so close to St. Louis. They're so close to Dallas.
Yeah.
They're parallel pretty much to Colorado, to Vegas. So you could make the argument
And
that keeping Nashville
you
West
would hope
made
the
sense.
Blackhawks would have a little more stroke than the Nashville.
And then you got the
Predators,
original
right?
six-pack together.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
That's
please.
that's the one thing of putting Chicago in the East that makes the most sense is your original six. You get 20 games out of those teams.
Absolutely.
Make it
all
a
year.
conference.
Yeah.
And
Make it a division.
half
Thank
the
you.
games this
Division.
season would start at 6 p.m., which is amazing.
Yes. That would be great.
More of those,
Love
please.
6 p.m.
No
start
more
time.
seeing someone go 130 miles an hour past me on the Dan Ryan at 2 a.m. leaving the show. And I'm just like, dear God, I've been good. Please don't have me die in a fiery wreck because this jackass is going 1,000 miles an hour in his cyber truck. All right.
You're
Hypno
right.
Hawk with the next question says, given that Soderblom is playing so well, what happens if Brossoit comes back? Feels like a trade may need to happen with Soderblom in it. Putting him in Rockford seems like a negative move. He is playing better than Mrazek, and it takes time from Kamezzo.
Man, what a difference 6 months makes.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's playing bad. Well, I guess the numbers would
Statistically
say.
wise,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But much smaller. sample
He's going to
size.
go to Rockford, and I think him and Kamezzo will split time.
Yeah. I think
If
so, too.
anything, the NHL has shown you in the last couple of years, and what this season has already shown you, having 3 goalies that could play in the NHL in your organization is a good thing. So, does Soderblom deserve to stick around for a while? Sure, he's played well enough to be that guy, but you didn't bring in Laurent Brossoit to not be that guy. That's what you paid him for.
Not
And
here
let's
for a
face it,
haircut.
it's Arvid Soderblom's quote unquote fault that Laurent Brossoit is here.
Yeah.
If he wasn't a complete bag of suck last year, they never would have signed that.
Mhm.
So sometimes there's consequences of not being good at your job, and then you get better at your job and you have to work even harder to get it back. So he'll go down to Rockford. That was the plan all along before the injury. He'll split time with Kamezzo down there. He'll push Kamezzo to be better, which is good.
Mhm.
And then if and when there's another injury at that position, you have Arvid Soderblom to come up, who you know you can depend on, and Drew Kamezzo can keep playing more games in the AHL.
Yeah, don't rush yourself out of a good situation. Like that, the Hawks have a good goalie situation right now.
Mhm.
Be happy with it.
Yeah.
And then you have a good goalie situation in Rockford too, which helps them be better and more competitive. Like, it's okay. And I think Soderblom is very happy to still be employed by a National Hockey League team after how last year went. So will he be bummed about going to Rockford? Yes, but if it isn't the consequences of my own actions catching up with me, as I say to my 14-year-old all the time, if you hadn't played as poorly as you did last year, this wouldn't have been necessary.
A couple quick questions in the chat. From Rogue Wave, do you think they'll re-sign him? Maybe. Why not? We'll see what happens.
You got 200 contract for this year and next. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. Depends on the term,
Kamezzo's under
obviously.
contract, and Soderblom is a
because he'll
free
still
agent
be. I
this
believe
summer.
he'll still be a restricted free agent.
Yes.
Arvid would be. So
'Cause
they have.
he's only 24.
I think he's 25 now. And then will he have to clear waivers from Steven? No. He has not reached the threshold yet, so he can be sent up and down.
He turned 25 in August.
Yeah, so he has not hit the age or the games played threshold to worry about waivers at this point, so he can just go down with nobody swooping in on him. But maybe that's a guy with being an RFA you get an offer for this offseason if he keeps playing. You know, there are so many. You telling me the Colorado Avalanche wouldn't like Arvid Soderblom right now?
Sure.
Or some of these other teams that always seem to have goalie issues. Maybe there's an offer for him in the summer, but let's worry about that when that gets here. Let's just enjoy the fact that a good young player who is a likable, decent human being is having a bounce back season, and all his hard work he put in is paying off. Let's just be happy and celebrate that, and then worry about next year when we have to.
Of goalies that have played more than 4 games this year, Arvid Soderblom is 4th in the NHL in goals saved above expected per 60. He's saving 1.15 goals above expected per 60 minutes he plays,
which is a complete 180 from where he was last year.
Yes, he was literally last in the NHL of all goalies that have played any games in goals saved above expected. He was allowing I think he allowed 15 goals more than should have been expected.
And let that also be a tale of caution to those who are worried about Drew Comezzo's slow start. I know Adam Guyan has not been great this year either. Don't forget, eventually they're going to get a lot of times working with Jimmy Waite, who is a very good goalie coach.
It's pretty rare that the Blackhawks' problem is goaltending over the last 15 years. Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't remember many seasons where I've gone, well, the Hawks have no goaltending. They always seem to at least have one.
17, 18? That was the Cam Talbot, or Cam Ward year. Cam Ward, Colin Delia.
Sure.
Scott Foster.
There's one.
Hey, Scott Foster played pretty well.
Hey, yeah, undefeated.
Way to go, Jimmy
100%
Waite.
save percentage.
Nobody's ever scored on him.
That's right. He's the Anthony Rizzo of goaltenders.
Yeah.
All right, next one here from Michael Evans. But before we get to that, we've got a lot of people watching and not a lot of people liking. Please hit that like button for us. Take 2 seconds. Hit the like button, please.
Hit the like button over deleting Michael Evans' question.
Well, that's a good question, though. He talks about my favorite refrigerator-shaped man.
Refrigerator Perry?
No, all right, my second favorite refrigerator-shaped man. With Barry Trotz's recent comments about starting the rebuild early, should the Hawks give the Preds a call if they tear it down? If Ryan O'Reilly would look great as a 2C for only $4.5 million, sign me up for that.
100%.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it seems like O'Reilly is just kind of happy to be a Nashville Predator.
Yeah.
Not a ton of pressure. He
did the whole, I'm going to go home and play for the Maple Leafs, and had 3 months of that. We're nope.
Don't want to do that anymore.
Never again. Send me somewhere that has nobody covering the team.
Gravely Diggs with the Jeff Glass mention. That was also that year, 17-18.
Yeah, so one bad goaltending year that I can remember in my lifetime. That's not bad.
That's fine. But that was because Corey Crawford was hurt.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't want to say it wrong, so I'll say it in the American way. Timothy says, what about Guyan? Didn't hear anything about him. Sad he's not doing well. He's years away from turning
first year in college.
And it's not a great team he's playing for either.
Not the best team.
So don't sweat it. It's fine.
Hey, if the Predators want to go into full rebuild mode, the Blackhawks should be all in on trying to see what you can pick off the bones of Nashville, because they're a team that loaded up, and they seem to be willing to just get rid of their first round picks after they've been drafted and developed a little bit. So Hawks should definitely be looking at what's available. Ryan O'Reilly would be perfect for this team.
I just don't know. I mean, you just signed Stamkos for 4 years, $8 million. Marchessault.
They're not tearing it down.
Yeah, they're not. That's
I'll trade for Stamkos.
That's some chest puffing GM saying,'I'll trade all of you if you don't start playing better.
Don't make me trade you all.
Don't make me turn this car around. That's It's hard to start a rebuild when 3 of your 4 most recent first round picks are all playing on other teams.
Yeah.
Two of them you gave away for nothing.
Got to start somewhere.
There is no movement clause in Ryan O'Reilly's contract, which is interesting. I would have thought he would have insisted on that, but nope. So
you can sign veteran players and not give them no movement clause?
Don't tell Stan Bowman.
Is that legal?
I guess
that's
so.
crazy. I don't believe you.
Steven says Ryan O'Reilly straight up for AA. Yeah, done.
100%.
Done. Yeah.
Force the trade.
The money works.
There's no Tim Hortons here either, so he's safe.
That's true. Watch out, Duncan. So, all right, got one here
Aim for the Starbucks.
Is this another Rooney?
He had two.
He can't
questions.
double
Same
dip.
guy.
He can double dip. He's a diehard.
Got to pay for it.
Whoa, look at me.
Whoa, hey. What's going on?
I like that. Let's keep it there. Rooney says, I know it'll never happen, but what about a trade package for Dylan Larkin to be what would a trade package for Dylan Larkin to be your 2C look like?
Well,
Man, Dylan
Looks
Larkin.
like no blue chew needed.
Dylan Larkin would probably be the
probably your
1C
numbers.
on this team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get Dylan Larkin, he's my top line center, and Bedard is
Dylan Larkin with Teravainen and Bedard, Ryan O'Reilly with Hall and Bertuzzi.
I like this.
And
Now you're talking.
what is happening with this pitcher and pitcher?
It's a Jay enjoying water picture.
All I know is our ratings are through the roof.
That's like that.
You just want to zoom in on my feet with that one?
That's like that SNL bit where it's just like, this broadcast is for the hearing impaired. Tonight's show.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. I forgot the question. 2C for
to get Dylan Larkin.
It would take a lot.
It'd take a lot because that's a franchise guy for the Red Wings.
Say goodbye to Kevin Korchinski. Say goodbye to
Yeah.
Oliver Moore. Say goodbye to a whole bunch of draft picks.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a big crowbar to pry
I'm
him
not
from Detroit.
giving up like all that for a guy that he's great, but also a guy that has problems staying on the ice.
It's
Hawks
not a move that
It's
makes
not gonna happen.
sense.
Right. No, and I know this. It's a hypothetical fantasy.
It would
Trade.
take a lot.
It would take a lot.
Imagine like prime Anthony Rizzo being traded from the Cubs.
It's
That's what it would feel like to me.
It would be what it would have taken to get Patrick Kane away from the Blackhawks circa 2015. A lot.
That much though?
Probably. If
I don't
I'm the
know.
Red Wings,
Well, yeah, if I'm the Red Wings, I'm making it that much.
it's going to.
I don't think Larkin's that good, but
But it's the equivalent. He's your franchise best player.
yeah.
You
yeah.
don't give those guys away for nothing.
Yep. You
I would
good?
give a lot for him, for the record. All right, David Kyleson
I love the avatar.
With a little mustache on it. Yeah.
says, "Hey guys,
Not Kyle Davidson's burner account. Not at all.
yeah."
That was good.
Says, "Hey guys, not Kyle Davidson here. In the last 5 drafts, if you could draft a different first-round pick than who the Hawks selected with someone who is still on the board,
Oh,
i.e.
love
Davidov
this
instead of
game.
Levchinov, but it can't be that. Who would you have chosen
All right.
for the team?"
I love
I
this
cheated
game.
and researched it. So if I take your pick, Mario, I'm not sorry.
All right.
I go back to 2021, where the Blackhawks took Nolan Allen 32nd overall. Now, this is not a slam on Nolan Allen. He has been a fine young defenseman.
And a fine young cannibal.
But here's how I worked that out. Nolan Allen was a stretch,
Yes.
probably available round 2.
Stretch.
So I take Logan Stankoven
Oh.
with that pick, who was taken 47 by Dallas. Writing draft prospect reports that year, Stankoven was a guy I wanted the Hawks to snatch up in the second round, but then they traded that one of those picks away. I think was part of the Seth Jones. The whole trade screwed up everything I wanted them to do. I take Stankoven 32. Then they took Colton Dock 62nd overall, second round. That again was a stretch. He would have been available for them in the third round. So you take Nolan Allen in the second round, Colton Dock in the third round, where you took Tage Harding, a defenseman who's never going to play in the NHL. Then your top 3 picks would have been Stankoven, Allen, and Dock. There's some damn good hindsight for you.
That'd be pretty good. I am going to go to the 2023 draft. I'm not going to select Connor Bedard. I'm just kidding.
He can't score. I wouldn't trade. I wouldn't. Should have taken Fantilli.
Yeah, I think. Wait, no, I'm thinking of the wrong draft. Hold on. Come back to me.
Mine is Stankoven too, but for the sake of argument, I will do a different one. Instead of Kirby Doc, I would take Cole Caulfield. He went 15th overall. I know he's a little guy, but scoring can score.
Talk about the kind of player that this team needs. Someone who is going to say, I want to score goals and I'm going to shoot to score goals.
Yeah, he
That's
leads the
awful.
league in goals right now on the team with the fewest points.
Matthew
Because
Boldy is
hockey
also an
weird.
option there.
Yeah,
There's
Matthew
lots of options
Boldy
in
is-
that draft class.
Yeah.
At number 3.
Yeah, that was the wrong pick.
So yeah. Do we get just one?
I'm just doing that one. Yeah.
All right. My just one will be the 2020 NHL draft. First round, 17th pick was Lucas Reichel. The next pick was a guy that I think would be great for this team, Dawson Mercer. I would like the Blackhawks to have taken Dawson Mercer at that spot. I think that's a guy that's an energy guy, plays down the middle, has an ability to play with an edge, can score a little bit. Like I think he fits what this team is kind of lacking in that young center position. So I would flip flop those picks.
Yeah. That would, if we could just do all those, that'd be good.
Yeah, we have a hell of a
We're
team.
talking about the playoffs right
I have
now.
a hell of a team right now.
Showtime with the next question says, what have your opinions been on Levchin's first couple games in the AHL? We sort of addressed that earlier in the show, but just sort of reiterating, patience.
Yeah, some good, some bad. The good stuff is what you drafted him for, and the bad stuff are all things that are fixable. Through
Right.
coaching,
Learning moment.
through development, through playing more. There is no need to be panicked about anything from Levchinov. He is on the proper development trajectory.
Correct.
Absolutely.
All right. Philip says, which Hawk is going to finish the season with the most goals and also most points? Connor Bedard.
For both?
Yes.
I still
Just
I still
smart
think by the
pick,
end
yeah.
of the year it all works out that way. I think Bedard is still going to be that guy. It's not going to be Ryan Donato.
I hope not. No offense to Ryan Donato. But if Ryan Donato is the team leader in goals after 82 games, it's not gone very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you share the little statistical nugget you found about Connor Bedard today?
All right, I'm not taking this credit. Somebody posted this, and I
Just take it.
couldn't find who it was, so I looked it up myself.
Therefore, it's yours.
So you get all the credit.
All right,
Yeah,
fine.
You did the work.
For those worried about Connor Bedard, and I know there's a lot of you worried, 3 goals in 30 games or whatever it is.
13 points in 16 games.
It's not from if Connor Bedard was not shooting at all, first of all, he leads the team in shots on goal. It's not even close. He has, at 5-on-5 this year, 41 individual scoring chances for. That is third, tied for actually fourth in the league. Austin Matthews leads with 49 individual scoring chances for. So he only has 8 fewer than the best goal scorer in the league.
How many goals did he have last year again?
Matthews?
Yeah.
He had a nice amount.
That's right.
Yeah. Then you have Carter Verhaeghe, Brock Nelson at 43, Nathan McKinnon, Jesper Brett, Zach Hyman at 42. Then it's Connor Bedard.
Spoiled Brett.
So
Brett
Zach Hyman.
and the spoiler
Rich
Brett.
kid. The rich kid playing hockey.
So he's
gonna
what they
be
call
fine.
snake bitten.
Yeah.
Yes, you do want him to shoot more. Yes, I kind of want more than just 41 scoring chances through 15 games. But it's not like he's completely lost out there and not trying to score goals. They'll come. There's no doubt about that. They will come. All players go through streaks where nothing seems to be going in. Crossbars are hit. Goalies just get the knob of their stick on it.
Oh, that happened twice in one game.
Yeah, like it's happened. How many times did Marian Hossa go through those streaks where he was shooting 3%, or Patrick Sharp would go 2 weeks without a goal,
Right.
and then he'd have 5 in 3 games? Like, this happens, especially for younger players. If he had, say, the 3 goals this season and has only created 16 individual scoring chances for, then you can say, what is going on here?
Yes. That's what we always
So
say.
it's going to be okay.
When the chances dry up, that's when you start to worry. And look, like we've
He
talked about.
definitely can create more chances.
Sure, and
but
a lot
it's
of
not like he's creating none.
Right. And a lot of post games we've talked about, like there's things he needs to do better. He needs to first take charge and put the damn puck on net and be in control of the offense. And he's got to make some better puck decisions. Those
And
will
he
come
leads
with
the team.
experience.
He leads the team in assists. So it's not like he's just a complete void on this roster.
All right, this is going to end the televised portion of the show if you're watching us on Roku or on Samsung. So if you want to jump back in on YouTube, please do that. We want to remind everybody to become a diehard at ALLCITY.com. You get 20% off all of our events, all of our merch, all of our takeovers, tailgates, all that great stuff. We had a great time at our takeover last night. People loved it. Hawks win. I think we're 3-0-1 in our takeovers. Is that correct?
We've had more takeovers than that.
We have more than 4?
Yeah.
It's a winning record. I know that.
We'll
have to go back.
It's a winning record.
I don't think there's been a regulation loss in a takeover.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That first one.
I don't know.
No, we started 2-0-1.
We'll have to have our stats department look at it.
Either way, it's a damn good time. And you get a free shirt like the one I'm wearing here. A little bit faded. This is like the first one I bought. And I wear it twice a week. And
it's gone through the wash.
They've also improved the printer since I ordered this. I know I've noticed that in the recent shirts. As the company's growing, the printer has gotten better. So get your free stuff, access all of our great written content like Pigs and Puck, the Rebuild Report, the Morning Chirps. I got my Blackhawks beat coming out this week. I was hoping there'd be practice tomorrow. There's not. So I need to regroup about what I'm going to write about. But we'll figure it out.
Scoring chances.
There you go. Scoring chances. I'll do what Greg said. So yeah, allchgo.com is the place to become a diehard. Let's do one more mailbag question before we wrap things up here as a little bonus to our YouTube and podcast listeners. This one from Scott, Iowa. First time planning Thanksgiving Day dinner. What is your go-to side dish, turkey and dressing, and what else is needed? Friend, mashed potatoes.
That's it.
I could be buried in mashed potatoes. I could eat that exclusively for the rest of my life and die a happy man.
Don't overthink it. Just like when you're on the power play. Don't overthink it. The classics work. Mashed potatoes and gravy.
The greatest singular side item in the world.
Yes.
For me, it's sweet potatoes with the charred marshmallows on top.
Don't listen to him. It's a terrible take. Mashed potatoes with gravy.
Millennials and their
sorry,
crazy
I have
food.
a better suggestion than
We have to agree on
mashed
everything on the show.
potatoes.
There's no gluten in marshmallows. You can eat that?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Really? But you can't have gummy bears, but you can have marshmallows?
There's gluten-free marshmallows.
Are the Lucky Charms marshmallows gluten-free?
Those are just sugar. Those aren't real marshmallows.
That's
Come on
just
now.
fermented
I've been
sugar.
eating the Kelsey mix,
Yeah.
which is Reese's Puffs, Golden Grams, and Lucky
Are you
Charms.
4?
Yes.
I saw that, and I said
It's
if I
good.
could eat gluten, I'd buy
It
a
works.
box of that.
It works
Yeah.
pretty well. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. So mashed potatoes are good. I'm not a sweet potatoes guy, but if that's your thing,
No, it's fine.
green bean casserole is always good. I'm a fan.
That's okay.
Taking up plate space, baby.
some simple buttered corn is good too.
Oh man.
Corn on the,
Can't go wrong. Not necessarily corn on the cob, but just
I
some
don't mind.
corn on the cob at Thanksgiving. I wouldn't hate it. But some corn, potatoes, stuffing,
Yeah. Keep it simple.
and cranberry sauce out of the can.
Not the
Sliced.
bathroom, out of the actual whatever it takes. By the way, we should take a moment to say Happy Veterans Day to everyone who has served, everyone who continues to serve. I threw up on my Twitter my Uncle Frank, who was a 2-time Purple Heart veteran in Vietnam. He got to do the honor flight a couple years ago, which is like the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
My Uncle Mike, who also served in Vietnam, and I learned this years ago, his job was loading bodies onto flights back to the States, which
Not a
is
good job.
brutal.
That's no fun.
Great guy, lives down in Texas. And I posted a photo of my grandpa from his days in the Coast Guard, and he's playing the piano with the guys on his ship. It is the coolest
That's
picture.
cool.
So
Yeah.
check it out on my Twitter or my Blue Sky. You can see those photos.
My dad was in the Army during Vietnam, and he credits taking typing in college to saving him from the front lines because that was he was literally the only guy in his platoon that knew how to type. So he stayed back in the sergeant's tent and just typed all the memos all day.
Attach him to the pigeon.
Yeah, and my grandfather served in the Navy in Italy during World War II. So grateful for all of those men and women who sacrifice and serve for our country. So 3 dopes can sit here and talk about hockey at 2:30 in the afternoon every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, my grandpa served in the, I believe it was the Korean War. He was actually a cook in the Korean War. So
Nice.
there's a picture of him. Speaking of potatoes, peeling potatoes with him and the other guys that worked in the kitchen. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, happy Veterans Day to everybody out there who's watching. I know we have a couple for sure that interact with us on a almost every show basis, and whether you're have served before or continue to, we do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a happy Veterans Day, and we'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 2:30 on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast with Petey.
We all silly like the